It says we're good.
Okay. I just texted. I said we got it. So I think we got it.
I don't understand.
I'm gonna say we got hacked by Bite My Bits.
Yeah, it says we're live. Okay.
All right, it should be coming up.
Welcome to Talking Heads. Your once weekly live show with the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
Welcome to Shamed Heads. As we sit here in shame.
Oh God. We're live. Episode 145. Oh man.
Oh my God, that was so bad. Hey,
I still don't understand.
I don't understand either, but if any time we should be opening a drink, it should be right now. Get the beer out of... Yes, let's do it. All right.
I don't even know what this is. I'm opening it.
It's an IPA. I'm drinking it.
It's an IPA.
An IPA.
This was graciously sent over by a viewer on my Discord. It is Kettle Beer Works Krabby Louie Imperial Pale, 9.5%.
Krabby Louie?
Krabby Louie.
It's an IPA with crab inside.
No idea.
A little bit of crab.
Carefully crafted at our brewery located in Banner Elk, North Carolina, Our Imperial IPA has a deep orange hue and firm hop backbone. A fusion of several American hop varieties give it a complex and provocative hop character.
Provocative. Woo-hoo.
Best served in a tulip or bell-shaped glass. Hey, I got that down.
You're ahead of the game.
To trap the aromatics, a wide range of dishes from grilled meats, barbecue, or pizza to spicy foods like tacos or nachos pair nicely with this robust IPA.
But not with crab. Which is weird.
Not
ironic, given the name.
Yeah, it's on the label, but yeah, no crab with this one.
It's funny that they say to serve it in a tulip, and I've seen some beers that tell you to serve it in a particular glass, but I've never seen one that tells you to serve it with the skull of your enemies.
Right.
But I'm still going to do it.
That's totally weird. Right. All right. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 145, your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve.
We'll see how far this show goes. So without getting into it too much, number one, thank you, Parker, for the beer. I will try this momentarily, but we were raring to go. Steve had a couple audio issues early on, and we kind of got those worked out.
Before 8 o'clock, just to say, before 8 o'clock.
It was 8:04.
We were close.
It was 8:04.
It was close.
So we finally got those worked out, and I went to go live, and I usually stream it at like 14.5 megs. So I give a pretty good clip to YouTube. I was getting like 2 megs up. No idea why.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh crap, are we going to be able to do this? Like, Zoom is fine. Like, Steve and I have been great on Zoom.
Yeah, the whole time.
And so I went over to my other PC to check, and I'm getting 50 megs up there. I come back to this PC, I'm getting 5. So I went, maybe it's a bad cable. I swapped cables, still getting 5. I swapped network adapters. I have 2 network adapters on this PC, still getting 5. I grabbed a USB gigabit adapter, still getting 5. Reset my switch, still getting 5. Swap to a different port on the switch, still getting 5. Swap to a different blade on the switch, still getting 5.
Yeah.
Went to Wi-Fi, still getting 5. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Finally, I VP... Oh, and by the way, I've been able to transfer gig on my local network from this PC. Because I sent my file server a couple files just to go, okay, can it at least send gig? Or is this like a problem with the cable? No, I'm sending gigabit traffic, no problem. Like, I maxed out that connection. I VPN'd over Nord, and all of a sudden I'm getting like 17.
Fine.
I'll take it.
We'll do it. Let's do it. As long as the VPN holds, we're going to be good.
I don't understand.
I don't know. That's weird.
The network guy in me is completely perplexed right now.
Yeah.
But we are live. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
All right.
Now all my windows are closed.
Let me tell you what I'm drinking then.
Yes.
I got When is the Future? It's a double India Pale Ale, so a double IPA with Comet Eldorado hops. And okay, so something about this particular beer, there is a new tap house, I guess, that opened up not too far from our town. That's opened in the middle of a hop field, and it's a hop farm.
Yeah.
And they sell only beers that are brewed with their hops. So this one is one that's particularly brewed with all the hops that they grow there. So it's kind of neat.
Very cool.
Crosby Hops.
Crosby Hop Farms. Nice.
Crosby Hop Farms, yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to make it out to their new tap house. I wanted to check it out and support them and whatnot.
Yeah, it's called Topwire.
Okay.
Topwire. Yeah.
But virus.
Yes, I know.
I haven't been drinking out all that much, at all.
I know. I've been there once, and it's I mean, they still require masks and everything like that, so they keep it all safe, and it's outdoors, which is nice. But it's very, very picturesque, but it's only seasonal, so they're only going to be open during the spring and summertime when the hops are growing.
Yeah. Because
once everything's down, it's a big dirt field, and no one wants to drink in the middle of a big dirt field.
Right. Yep. All right. Let's give this one a try, and then let's get into some news.
Yes, let's do that. We're already late.
I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely a completely different flavor of IPA than I think I've ever had before. It's very thick, very, very thick.
Very crabby. Maybe a little bit of crab in there.
It's not crabby and it's not chunky.
Yeah.
It is not quite crystal clear, but it's got a pretty good look to it. But it drinks like, I don't want to say molasses. It's not quite that thick.
Okay, but it's got big, thick mouthfeel,
but
right?
It's got some chutzpah to it. But the flavor is very unique. I picture a beer like this being like a Stone IPA. You know how big and bold the Stone IPA is? Mm-hmm. This is an IPA that's big and bold in completely different ways.
Oh, okay.
Like flavors I'm not used to.
Okay.
I think it's really good. But I'm not sure.
You just taste the alcohol in it and like, I'm fine at this point. This is going to be good. No, this one is what you expect a good hazy IPA to taste like. It's got those big citrusy flavors. It smells terrific, tastes terrific.
Yeah.
There's like kind of citrusy flavors, orange peel, grapefruit in there. All those good things. This is what this one tastes like. So awesome. I'm enjoying it.
This one's 9.5%, and that's really all I care about right now.
Oh, I'm okay. This one's 8%. It's close.
Dashboard, welcome aboard, sir. Thank you. All right. Let's get into some news. Where did all my notes go?
All over the board. Yeah, you got to reload all your notes.
Right. Luckily, Firefox did keep my tab, or did keep all my tabs, so they all have to reload. But so Nvidia. Let's start with some Nvidia news.
Nvidia news.
See, we had our own 30-minute ultimate countdown. Nvidia has been running their ultimate countdown, and right now they're on the year 2000. But basically, this is a countdown for the Nvidia Ampere announcement that will be happening on September 1st.
That's right.
So Ampere being their new graphics card solution. Not much is known about it at this point, although Nvidia has been, if you've been following the hashtag Ultimate Countdown, there have been a number of really cool things shared, like tech demos circa year 2000, games, and, like, what games did you play back then, and what kind of video cards were we running back then? What kind of video card did you have back in 2000, Steve?
Oh God, 2000. So that was the year of the LAN party for me.
Yes.
I was gonna say probably 2000. I might have still been either was an early Riva TNT 2 maybe.
Okay.
Probably, maybe. Because I know it was past the Voodoo stage at that point. Either that was a very, very early Nvidia GeForce. I can't remember 2000.
Yeah.
This is
2000. I think I was on a GeForce 2. I want to say
GeForce 2. Okay, that might have been me too. I don't know. It's been like, as I know those early ones, it's all a blur.
I know somewhere around 2003 ish. I had an MX 440. So that was pretty good. I remember gaming to heck on that.
Yep.
But And then I think 98, I may have had an original GeForce, an original 8 megabyte GeForce.
GeForce, yeah. See, I never had the original GeForce.
Yeah, I had a card in between. I think it was a GeForce 2. I never owned a TNT Riva, and I never owned a 3DFX. I got through that whole stage without ever owning a 3DFX card.
Yeah, I had the original 3DFX, and I had the Voodoo, and then the Voodoo 2, and then the Riva TNT came out, and then there was the TNT 2. And then I'm pretty sure it was the TNT 2 I had for the longest time. And then the GeForces came out, the very first one. I never had an original GeForce, but I know I had a GeForce 2. So it may have been a GeForce 2, might have been a TNT 2. I don't remember. All those things put together. Kind of blurs.
Yep. So anyway, the countdown has been pretty cool so far. They've been sharing a lot of nostalgia, especially if you grew up building PCs in that day. Yep. There's a lot of fun stuff that they've been sharing. Anyway, the bigger news is actually, what are they going to be announcing? And there's been leaks after leaks dropping about this. Again, we don't have any concrete information as far as what's going to be announced. It's all speculation as far as what are the names, what are the specs, but we are starting to get some details. So we're guessing we're going to get the RTX 3080 Ti, 3080, and possibly 3070 announced on September 1st. Now, the interesting thing is when it comes to the memory on the cards, how much memory is going to be there. They're saying that they're going to be coming in 24, 20, and 10 gigabyte variants. So
that's
a
big.
Pretty dramatic leap forward.
Increase for the RAM anyway, and it's going to be the GDDR6X, much faster RAM. Yeah,
that's the other thing is that one's even more unconfirmed is how much is what type of memory, because the GDDR6 thing has been circulating a little bit, but the thing is not a single memory manufacturer has been confirmed as to being producing GDDR6 as of yet. So unless all of a sudden they're going to crank out 1.5 million chips in 3 weeks.
No.
Right.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. But you know what? One can dream, right?
Right. Maybe the RTX 3080 Super Ti will launch with GDDR6X in January or something. You know, because they got to keep those SKUs flowing now.
Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, that happened with the first RTX. They had the normal lineup, and then they came up with the Supras, right?
At least we got 9 months out of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, we talked previously about the possibility of an RTX coprocessor in conjunction with just a straight up CUDA core processor. So getting better bins on the chips, making them more affordable because you're not having to bin the entire die. You can bin 2 separate dies and only sell the good RTX chips with the good CUDA chips. And you get more, NVIDIA gets more bang for their buck that way. And especially with this cooler design, with the shroud design, that seems very, very likely to happen. But as far as what the raw specs are, that is still very much up in the air. If you remember over 1.5 years ago on Talking Heads, like March 2019, I want to say, we had some Ampere leaks, and it was rumored to be whatever the cards were. And those specs that we talked about back then didn't match the RTX launch specs. And so it's very possible that they were looking at some early Ampere, chip production. Maybe they ran into problems and decided to launch Turing as kind of a middle child.
Kind of makes sense, actually. When we look at the progression of I mean, I'm not saying that the RTX was okay. I am saying the RTX release was kind of a little on the disappointing side compared to the previous chipset. So maybe this is the grand leap we're kind of waiting for, and the 20 series RTXs are kind of the in between, just kind of keep NVIDIA people chomping at the bit, keeping them going.
Right.
Could be.
Well, the 2000 series definitely, it did 2 things. Number one, it extended the bar by how much of a lead they were over AMD.
Yes.
And it also extended the range that people were willing to pay for graphics cards. disappointing or not, prices went up, and we still bought them.
You're absolutely right, and I was a sucker for that. I had to do it. I had no choice. My main everyday driver PC, the video card that died, and I had to go plunk down about $600 for a new video card.
Yep.
I mean, I had to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people did. When you are a hardware enthusiast and you are a gaming enthusiast, and money is no object, well, all of a sudden when the prices go up 50%, you go and you just drop the money down. Now, I did buy a couple of the newer series cards from Nvidia. I did end up purchasing a 2060, and I also ended up purchasing a 1660. This was kind of in the early stages of the RTX release, back when not a lot of manufacturers would talk to me about graphics cards. I'm at a point now where I've got some pretty good relationships going on, and they're actually starting to talk to me and be willing to work with me on some projects, which is kind of cool. But probably the biggest thing for me with these new graphics cards wasn't ray tracing or tensor or anything that came out with them. It was actually the new the new NV encoder. And not only that, but all of a sudden Adobe becoming CUDA aware and being able to use your graphics horsepower for rendering even in the editing phase, let alone the edit, the rendering boost that you got on the backside of that. That has been huge to my workflow.
Yeah. And we saw that when we went to CES this year, that they had a big demonstration, not just graphic prowess, but what those CUDA cores can do for other type of workflows. Right. I mean, CAD, editing, all kinds of stuff, 3D modeling. There was big boosts to it, AI type of stuff. So they, just utilizing those CUDA cores really helped. I think that was just kind of like the taste of what's to come. And I think if these rumors are going to be true with these new, RTX 30 series, it's going to be pretty big. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully, because and again, the 2000 series, they perform well. They really do. But the thing is, for the price points that they launched at and the price points that they continue to be at today,
still not
it's disappointing seeing where Pascal was.
Yes, exactly.
And how big of a leap forward Pascal was over Maxwell.
Right. No, I know that I had the 970 for the longest time, and I was super happy with the performance because it was a big leap.
Right.
And I had that card for 5 years probably.
Yeah, that's right about right. I think the 970 launched in late 2014.
Yeah, and it lasted. It was great. It was a great performer, and it lasted well until the fans died on the thing. So, and that's honestly why I had to get a new card. So, this one does not feel like a huge leap, but we'll see what this next one is. Maybe it's the thing we're waiting for.
Yeah, could be. The interesting thing with the memory is I saw a spec today that NVIDIA and AMD can increase the memory capacity on their graphics cards for as little as $12 per gigabyte. And everyone goes, oh, that's insanely affordable. Like, why aren't they doing that?
Yeah.
You realize NVIDIA is tacking on $120 worth of memory to their high-end card right now, right?
Yeah.
If it's rumored to come out at 24 gigs, and we're already going, holy crap, a 2080 Ti is, $1,200.
Yeah.
Or $1,700 if you want the Zotac,
big old beefy ones.
Yeah. You realize that's already like more than double of what we were paying for like 1080 Ti's, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if their high-end card is going to hit the 2,000 mark. I wouldn't
be shocked if there's a manufacturer that has a $2,000 card.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is, especially if I mean, look at these specs. If the performance boost is as big as it is, then I think that there's the enthusiast crowd that will be willing to pay that high premium $2,000 price for a 3080 Ti.
I do agree. I do agree. There will be some out there. Yeah. And NVIDIA's been treating it less, the high-end stuff, less and less like mainstream and more like Halo products.
Yes.
And when you do that, you entice the bros of the world to go out and spend that money. And And because it's a Halo product, and because they've been treating the 2080 and the 2080 Ti as such as of late, you can even include the 2070 Super into that conversation. Because they've been treating it that way, all of a sudden you have everyone wanting to buy whatever 2000 series card and ignoring AMD's offerings entirely.
Right.
It's funny because AMD still hasn't made much headway into the Steam analytics and Steam hardware surveys and whatnot.
Yeah.
Even though the 5700 XT is a dynamite card.
Yeah.
For $400, it's a dynamite card, and it's performing at the $600 level for Nvidia. But the 2070 Super is still outselling it. I don't understand.
Yeah. I know. It's the last Steam survey. I think the 2070 was the highest increase in video cards that most people were getting in their home PCs. The 1060 and the 2070 both saw the biggest increases. And what's funny is back when I did the average video 3 years ago, the 1050 Ti was the high mark, was the most used card as far as average performance levels. So even if you had a GTX 680, that's still 1050 Ti performance. And so you have to judge based on, well, that card is also 7.5 years old at this point. Right.
That's the performance that you have. And that's the performance that people were fine with. And all of a sudden, like I said, Nvidia made us pay more, and we willingly did it.
Yes. No, so, you're gonna see a rap video coming soon with somebody with big gold chains and like an Nvidia card.
Right
there. That's gonna be no medallions. It's gonna be an Nvidia card now. Yeah. Hanging around their neck.
I still want a Volta card. I so do. I so want a Volta. I know there's no point. I know the 2080 Ti is faster. I want that Volta card. Yeah. I still want the Volta. God, that thing was beautiful. The gold on it. Oh,
that's such a beautiful looking card. Yeah.
Yep.
So much bling.
What's funny is in my daily life, I'm not a bling guy. I don't gravitate towards that. But that graphic card in particular,
so beautiful.
That just something about that spoke to me.
Yeah. Well, if you want to make your wife jealous. Like, I'm sorry, baby, but I'm going to take my video card out for a date tonight.
Got a little hot pink side item here.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Hey, all right.
By the way, Parker sent me a beer and a video card. So thank you, Parker.
So pink and discreet.
Yeah. Yeston RX 550. So you'll see this in a future video. I actually do have a project in mind for this. And
you should set up a Tinder profile with just that video card and be like, single, pink. There you go.
Anyway, let's get on to some Intel news here. We've been talking about that for too long. Let's get back into the thing that we've been talking about for even longer, which is Intel's failure to make next-gen chips.
Yes, exactly. and even when they do go down the nanometer, it's still not that exciting.
Yeah. So Tigerlike CPUs are supposedly still kind of on the way, even though they've been officially delayed until late 2021.
Right.
We're getting some whispers out of the woodwork that there are some new specs, there are some new SKUs that we can talk about, and supposedly they will have DDR5 memory support at launch, as well as Intel's Z or Xe GPU cores baked in.
Yeah.
So kind of a hybrid APU kind of thing. Not to be confused with Intel's hybrid chip, which is the big little design.
Yeah.
From ARM. This is a hybrid chip, as in like an APU. Or we'll see. We'll see how that ends up working. But anyway, there are some specs here down below. Where are the SKUs at? There they are. And here we can see that they are indeed 10 nanometer cores.
Yep.
They're 10 nanometer parts. Look at that. Intel is
finally shrinking down a little bit.
Not necessarily officially announcing, but kind of saying, hey, we can do a 10 nanometer.
Yeah.
It's still only a 15 watt TDP. For all of them.
Yes, I know.
And that's been my complaint all along is, yes, I know you kind of can make a 10 nanometer chip. Your best one, your only one that you've even brought to market was a 2-core and a 4-core 10 nanometer chip.
Yep.
And here we're seeing kind of much of the same, and this isn't going to be out for at least another year.
And it's not even that impressive. I mean,
right. i7 1185 G7. Number one, what the bloody hell is up with that name? That's what I want to know first and foremost.
They're going to run out of letters in the alphabet before
i7 1185 G7. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. Is that 7 compute units for your graphics? G7?
That's what I was thinking. The G
you
was
have
for
G3,
graphics?
G5, and G7 now to go with your i5, i3, and i7?
That's what I thought the G stood for, was the graphics, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The
I'm
7
assuming the
doesn't make
G7 is 7 compute units on their APU, but
Probably.
figure out another monk here.
Yeah.
Or add a dash at the end of it. For God's sakes. Don't just slam it at the end of what your CPU SKU is.
Yeah. A little confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. Intel's always had a confusing product stack, and now that they're going to make GPUs, they're going to make it even worse. You know they are.
Oh, it's going to be a mishmash of everything.
Anyway, so they've got an i7, 3 gigahertz base clock, right? And a 4-core 8-thread. You realize that AMD already has on the market an 8-core 16-thread 35-watt chip at 7 nanometer that runs circles around some of Intel's desktop chips.
Yeah, it's getting sad at this point.
Right. Yeah, and the other SKUs just get sadder from there because they're still pumping out an i3 with 2 cores and 4 threads, 3 gigahertz base clock, but a 15-watt TDP. And the i3 1115G4 or 1115G4. So apparently that one only has 4 compute units or 4 graphics processors or graphics cores or
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say too little, too late, but they still haven't even delivered it.
No, and it's saying mid 2020. Now, what would you consider to be the middle of the year? What month would you consider to be the middle of the year?
We already passed it.
Exactly.
We're in the 8th month.
Yes, I know. There's only 12 months in a year.
We're 2 weeks from Q3.
I know. So the mid 2020, it's not really quite panning out right.
Right. Well, they did a couple of weeks ago say that they were already delaying their 10 nanometer fabs to late 2021, and that 7 nanometer wouldn't be until 2023.
Yeah.
So we went over kind of some of those numbers. I believe it was last week.
Okay.
But and then there's also, there's the whole, they're using TSMC for fabs. And so are they going to all of a sudden spin their architecture around? Is this still going to be based on the core, Nehalem, Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge type architecture, or are they coming out with something new? I highly doubt they're coming out with something new this quickly because it takes 5 years to reinvent a process.
Oh yeah, the whole fab process takes a long time, very expensive, very a lot of R&D going on with it. And we live in the Pacific Northwest. We hear, we got our ears to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard anything about it. There's no new factories spinning up.
Nope.
Usually when something big is coming down, there's a big round of hiring of local people. Have not heard anything about that.
There's been no posts.
No nothing. Yeah. And it's been actually quite stagnant. So I have no idea what Intel's doing.
Yeah. I don't think Intel knows what Intel's doing, to be quite honest. Yeah, it's... Boy, buckle in, because this is going to be a long haul for Intel to get out.
It is.
I've said this multiple times on the show, but remember, it took AMD 5 years to hit the reset button on Bulldozer.
Yeah.
They came out with Bulldozer, and it was supposed to be the be-all, end-all, next-gen architecture that was going to bring Intel to its knees. And Intel went, oh, here's Sandy Bridge.
Yeah.
And their 2-core chips were beating AMD's faux core chips. And not faux FOCO chips.
FOCO chips.
And AMD's 8-core chips with only 4 floating points and whatnot, the bulldozer architecture, the 8150 and later the 8350, those never performed the way that AMD had hoped they would actually perform.
No. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even have like tasks that they were good at either. It wasn't like, well, we beat Intel over here. No, you still didn't.
Yeah.
And AMD realized that after they came out with, what was it, Piledriver, in 2012, that they went, this isn't going to work. This whole process, this whole architecture is doomed. We can't do anything more with it. And to AMD's credit, they stopped trying.
Yeah.
They said, we see the writing on the wall. This architecture is not panning out to what we thought it was going to be, and it certainly doesn't have anything in the future.
Yeah.
They stopped production on chips for 5 years.
And they took a beating on that. And then within that 5 years, they took a big beating. But look at what a better position they're in right now.
They stayed semi-relevant in graphics. Remember that they had a couple really good years for graphics. They did. Mixed into there, they had the 7980 or the 7970 series come out, which was a world beater. The R9 290 was a hell of a card at the time. And even their mid-tier graphics, into Polaris, the RX 570, 580, 470, 480, those were phenomenal graphics cards and great, budget to mid-tier offerings for AMD. But it took them from late 2012 to early 2017, so 4.5 years to hit the reset button and then come back out with a chip that had the potential to grow in the future. Yeah. And that's what Intel is going to have to go through. It's going to be a long 4 years for Intel.
It is.
I say 4 years because Intel has a lot more resources, a lot more money, and a lot more researchers than AMD could ever dream of.
They can throw a bunch of money at it and they can crank something out if they want to, but it's going to be a painful 4 years, especially for people who are investing in Intel.
Right. It's still going to be 3.5 to 4 years before you hear an announcement of a next generation architecture that
and it's going to hurt.
Moved on from the core series.
AMD is already starting to take over on the server side of things. Mac already ditched Intel. They're going ARM.
Yep.
They're going to be hurting for the next 4 years, so they really have to start cranking stuff out.
Right. Yep. They agreeing with me in chat? I don't know. I had my window full screen so I could read it without looking weird. Crazy Intel. Yeah. Intel might just... You guys are great. G7, named after an airplane. Intel marketing is trash. No, Intel naming is trash.
Yeah.
Their marketing's actually pretty darn good. Oh, great. Someone screenshotted my Yeston.
They already made it
made it an emoji.
An emoji, yeah.
You bastards. Oh, that's great. I feel like we're running really, really behind, but I'm like, we're only 35 minutes into the show. We've gotten through the 2 big stories. Okay, cool. We're doing well.
We're doing good. We're doing pretty good, actually. I mean, maybe the half-hour delay is kind of helping us because it was kind of a light week anyway. So
it was.
Hey, you know what? That's fine. We're doing good.
We are. All right. A little bit of Microsoft hardware news.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Microsoft has officially announced that the all-new Microsoft Surface Duo,
yes,
will be out on, what is it, September 12th?
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Yeah.
A sexy little bit of kit there. It's Microsoft's first foray into a Android-based operating system device. Surface branded, but Android operating system and dual screen as well. Yeah. But did you see that price point there?
I did indeed. And remember how I said NVIDIA was kind of testing the marketplace and seeing how much people would be willing to pay for an expensive device?
I think this is
so did Apple and so did Apple and Samsung in the last couple of years. Remember when an iPhone top of the line was like $650 bucks? And now it's like $1,350
Yes.
Because they found out people were willing to pay that much money?
Well, okay, here's the thing is like big phones and tablets have replaced desktops. I mean, for your common user, right?
Yeah.
Your grandma doesn't use the desktop anymore. Grandma uses the phone and tablet, right? So does moms and whatever. Because all they use is they browse Facebook and they look at recipes and that's about it.
Yep.
Right. So the market realized this, and so if you want the top end device, then that's what it's going to be. It's going to be mobile or it's going to be tablet, right? And I think this is what Microsoft's going for in this particular thing. They're trying to bleed the edge between the two. It's like, I don't know if this is going to really work out for them in this particular space.
Hot take.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
cannot see this device succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see it succeeding.
I agree
for
with you.
For a number of different reasons.
I agree with you. I am optimistic about some of the tech that they're putting in there. But as that price point and it just being Microsoft and the Surface and what it's offering, I don't see it taking off really.
Right. Number one, they overestimate how wide people's pockets are. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Because it's still a fairly large device, even when folded.
Yeah.
I, for one, never carried around the Palm Pilot keyboard with me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine I'm going to carry this in my back pocket either.
I honestly think that Microsoft thought that overalls were going to make a comeback so that people would have that big,
little front
big
pocket.
Yeah, I think they thought that was going to happen. They're like, hey, the Surface Duo would fit great in your fashionable overalls. But it never took off, so whatever.
But they're trying to merge tablet and phone.
Yes.
And laptop. They're also bending some laptop tech into this as well.
They are, yes.
Here's the problem, is you compromise all three.
And Microsoft has always done this stuff. They've always done this thing. With Windows 8, when it first came out, they're like, let's make an operating system that will work on tablets, but it will also work on desktops. And they did that even back with NT.
Yeah.
You go far back. They take all these things like, well, why
remember
do we have
Windows for pen computing?
Yes.
I had one of those machines.
They always like produce these things and like somebody somewhere in Microsoft's like, well, wouldn't it be great if we combined all of them together in one? And they're like,
right. It has never, ever worked out for them. What's the last combo product that you can think of that worked out? Maybe a VHS DVD player in one?
I was just going to say a VHS TV combo was probably the
best. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. As a laptop, it's too damn small, and you don't get any feedback from the keyboard, so it's going to be difficult to type on.
Yes, yeah.
As a phone, it's too damn big. I can't put it in my pocket. It's difficult to carry with. What's the battery life going to be like on the screens? How durable is the hinge? How good is the camera? Can I use it comfortably one-handed?
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. As a tablet, it's going to suck as a tablet.
Yeah, because it's going to feel flimsy in the middle. Yeah, the thing in the middle. Yeah.
There's a bezel in the middle. I can't view media. You can't use a
full screen video. Yeah, exactly.
Where does this sit?
Yeah, I know.
It could be a technical marvel, but usability is going to be terrible or non-existent with all existing paradigms. Now, if Microsoft manages to find a new paradigm in which people are willing to use this on, it's got a shot.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has to find that paradigm, and they're famously not good at that.
No, they're famously for like just taking whatever and throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right.
And half the time, it doesn't stick.
Right.
So I think that's what this is. I mean, I see some interesting ideas in here, but as an overall product, I don't see it succeeding at all. It just, especially at that price point.
$1,400.
Yeah.
Starting.
I can see some people adopting it and loving it just because they spent so much money. They're gonna be like, I love it because I spent so much money on it. That's what some people are. But I'm with you. I don't see a real practical purpose for what this is. It's too big for a cell phone, too small for a tablet. When you're consuming media, it's not. You're gonna be frustrated because you can't use it full screen. I mean, the hinge thing for being a dual screen, okay, that's better than the folding thing because they kind of got away from the crease,
right?
Problem. That's good, I guess. But the rest of it, not that exciting for the price point. Not really that exciting.
No, it's two iPads glued together. And who wants that? Who asked for this product? I'm looking at my IT brethren. I'm looking at industries that I worked at. I'm looking at enterprise. I'm looking at mobility. I'm looking at a bunch of different enterprises. I can't fathom a single person other than the one guy in the office who goes, "Oh, I've got to look what I got. Look how cool it looks."
Yeah.
You know that guy.
Okay.
I can't imagine anyone else genuinely going, I have a use case that fits this device.
Did you ever watch Flight of the Conchords? Remember Flight of the Conchords?
Yes.
Okay, so they had that one episode where he got him a gift, and he literally took like a Nokia cell phone and glued it to a camera. He's like, "Oh look, I got you a camera phone for your birthday." That's what this is. It's like, here's two things, I glue them together. Here you go.
I don't know if you saw, it was floating around, I think on Reddit earlier today, and someone said the strongest device in the universe, and they had the old Nokia brick phone sitting on there. Well, they kind of did like a hydraulic press thing with it.
Oh yeah,
but the head of the hydraulic press was made of clay, and so it deformed around the phone. But it was an actual hydraulic press, and they had like painted the clay to make it look.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, the good old Nokia.
Putting in the cell phone's ringing while it's on the table, and the press is going. It was wonderful. But yeah, I don't want to harp on this device without seeing it and seeing it firsthand, but it's going to be thicker than we all think. It's going to be heavier than we all think. It's going to be more awkward than we all think.
Yeah.
And who is this for?
I don't know. I mean, if they were to give me one for free, yeah, I'll take it and play with it. But
right,
it looks cumbersome. It doesn't look like, because it's when I first saw this thing, it's like, oh, it's going to be a tablet, right? No, it's a phone.
No, it's a phone.
And I'm like, I don't know, because it looks even, because it's supposed to fold back.
Yeah.
So you can fold it back so you can have one side to be.
So
like
I have a double thick smartphone with an odd aspect ratio now.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks bigger than a Note, like the old Samsung Note.
Right.
So I don't know what it's for. I honestly don't.
The one device that really intrigued me in the last year as far as cell phones go was the rebirth of the Motorola Razr, but not at $2,000.
No, not at $2,000. This looks like a bargain for what the Razr was. Yeah,
right. But that's the only device that I went, they're going for the original reason it sold.
Yes,
they're trying to target the slim, long battery life. One of the first mainstream camera phones, and trying to go after the main aspects of why was that device successful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Microsoft's over here with the Surface Duo going, well, tablets are successful and laptops are successful, and we know phones are successful, although we've never made a successful phone before.
Yes.
Let's just put all three of them together and hope that we can sell these people one device for $1,500. Yes. Yeah. It's never worked, and it's not going to work.
Microsoft is the king of like, let's just take all these things and mash them together and see what works. And most of the time, it does not work.
It's how you get Windows 8. It's how you get Windows Me.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, coming to a discount bargain bin near you. Surface.
I'll buy it for $300 to try.
Oh yeah, I mean, heck yeah, someone's going to sell
it, but
for
not for 14.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we'll see. I guess the pre-orders are coming out. When did they say that you can pre-order it? September 10th.
I think September 10th. It's shipping on the 12th.
Yeah.
And so you can get it at retail stores. Microsoft closed their retail stores.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't predict big things about it. I honestly don't. Just looking at the pictures of how people are holding it, it looks super awkward. Awkward.
And if people listen to IT people, the Microsoft Surface would have been bombed off the planet already.
Yeah. Oh well.
Because they market it to enterprise people, and it is the exact opposite of what you want in an enterprise device.
I'm starting to kind of feel bad about the Microsoft hardware side of things. I mean, if it wasn't for the Xbox, I don't know.
That's a different division. Gaming is a different division.
I understand that, but I mean, they still have a hardware line,
right?
Right. And the only thing that's been successful hardware-wise are like the consoles and the controllers. That's about it.
Yeah.
I can't think of any hardware that Microsoft put out that's been like wildly successful. Not their phones, not anything.
Yep. No. The Wave keyboard, the original Ergo keyboard.
Was that Microsoft who put that
That was
out?
Microsoft.
I don't know. Was that an original concept by them, or was
that
it
was an original concept by them?
Oh, okay,
The Ergo keyboard was an original concept, and they started that whole trend, and they're still one of the biggest sellers of that.
Okay, those are fairly popular. They don't release those anymore, though. There's nobody that.
Oh no, Microsoft still makes them. They make Surface Edition versions of the Ergo keyboard that are wireless and have the same aesthetics as the Microsoft Surface. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I've never followed it because I never got behind it. I couldn't care less, honestly. I know some people loved it. Working in an office, there was always like 2 or 3 people like, I gotta have that keyboard. I gotta have that keyboard.
Right. I had one for a number of years.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was an okay keyboard. Yeah. It was definitely comfortable.
Someone's saying Azure in the Zune, I guess, in chat. They were saying Zune.
Zune, yeah.
There were some people who loved the Zune. I don't know. Yeah, Azure is a cloud service. No, Zune was. There's some people who loved it, I guess, and I think it's got a little bit of a cult following even to this day. But I can't say it's a success though. It was there and it was gone. So
yeah. All right, and everyone's clamoring for my custom emoji, so here it is. Good God, I hate you all.
There it is. You got to put it on there now. Someone did all the hard work for you, so you just got to copy and paste.
Yep. I think that's it. Too big. It's got to be 256 or less.
256 or less.
Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I'm photoshopping live. Here we go. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Speaking of copying and pasting.
Speaking of things that have never worked before.
Yeah. So,
how about reinventing something that always works?
Yes. Our Microsoft finally catching up with everybody already implemented. So Windows 10, the next update coming up with Windows 10 is reinventing the copy and pasting in Windows 10. So like most people have on their modern phones or even in modern applications, there's a way to implement into chat GIFs and, well, if Jeff wants to say it, GIFs. Emojis.
Don't you start with me, Steve.
We don't want to get into that right now. So putting it just integrated within the chat. So the next update with Windows 10 is supposed to be able to integrate that into the new clipboard. So there's going to be a new clipboard within Windows 10 that if you do not a Control V, but we even talked about this, not a Control V, they're not replacing Control V. They're putting a Windows V in there, which should pop open a window that will allow you to insert emojis, insert GIFs, and insert various other things that you want to in your pasting feature.
Yep.
And in just about any kind of application that Windows supports. So just like, your Android keyboard, like the more modern Android keyboards and stuff like that, and probably Macs. I don't know. I don't use Apple phones.
The ones that offer animated GIFs?
Yes, exactly. That you just type in there, say, hey, there's a GIF. Windows is offering that now. So that's going to be coming up into the next release of Windows 10. So they're finally catching up with everybody else into the operating system. I mean, to be honest, most things that we chat on, which is like Discord, they already have that feature integrated. People who chat in like Facebook, that's already integrated. Most chat things, Twitter, all those things, they already have all this stuff integrated into it.
Yes.
In fact, I think even Teams, which is a Microsoft product, already has that integrated.
Right.
So this kind of feels to me like they're putting a hat on a hat.
Yes,
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Well, they're merging their desktop with the tablet paradigm because the Surface. Right.
Well, they're putting a tablet on a tablet, so they might as well put a hat on a hat, right?
Right.
They might as well. So I mean, it's kind of interesting, but it seems like too little, too late, because everybody's already integrated that into just about everything else already.
Right. And Does it have to be? Does the program you're using that feature in have to be compatible with said feature?
I think it would have to be at certain points because, I mean, certain things...
Is this an API that has to be included? Because throwing a GIF in is typically just pasting the link to the GIF, and then the program goes, "Oh, you pasted a link to a GIF. I'm just going to
display it." Yeah,
most of the time,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you paste a GIF into Discord, and it only displays the GIF. It doesn't display the link, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
So that's to be fair, that's probably what they're going to do. If there's like if you use this on like Windows Notepad, that's what it's going to do. It's probably going to put the URL on there to where it's at, because obviously default Notepad doesn't support it, or doesn't. I don't know what's going to do with emojis. It'll probably do like some shorthand, whatever. But the fact that they're finally integrating into Windows is, kind of newsworthy, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
If we can get like Clipboard History integrated into Windows, I'd be so happy.
Looking at the shortcuts that they have on this thing, it looks like one of the icons does have a Clipboard History.
There's a clipboard icon right there, and that makes me really hopeful.
Yes. And there's another thing that looks like a calculator, which it kind of confuses me. I don't know who wants to do calculations on a clipboard.
Right.
I'm not too sure. They have emojis, GIFs, something else. I don't know. There's a few things, but the last one, which is a Clipboard History, that's probably the most useful thing right there.
Yeah.
And the fact that they put it the last icon, means that they have the least faith in it. It's like an afterthought. It's like, no, that should be the first thing.
It should be the first thing.
Should be the first thing.
Right.
Everybody wants Clipboard History. That's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
I copied and pasted this thing like about an hour ago. Is it still there? Oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. I want that. Everybody wants that.
Yeah. I've never found myself... This is why I said the Apple Touch Bar would fail. Mm-hmm. I've never found myself needing a hot button for an emoji.
Yeah, and neither have I. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never a dedicated button to insert a GIF here. I've never wanted a touch interface for scrubbing through a timeline in Premiere.
Yeah.
What's the point of this feature? Who's going to use it? What are you going to use it for? I'm saying the same thing with this feature with the new clipboard, Windows V. Who's going to use this?
Yeah. Well, it looks like people are saying this Clipboard History is already there, but you have to turn it on.
Right.
Which I do remember hearing about that. But it's not, I don't think it's integrated in the shortcut.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it's integrated into the shortcut. I think that's what they're doing here, is integrating it into the shortcut. Yeah, I have multiple items in Clipboard. Press the Windows logo key V. So yes, so this is an extension of that. So that kind of makes sense why they put the history at the very end, because they already implemented it, and now they're adding more on top of it.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. All right, well, that's good to know.
All right then. Yep. Yeah, we're being thoroughly corrected in the Discord.
Yep, that's fine.
So. Yep. All right. Moving right along.
All right. Out of the tech news into the beer news.
Into the beer news. Finally getting into the good stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly, because there's one time of year that I hold most dear.
Of course.
And that is Goose Island Bourbon County Stout release time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, even though Goose Island is still technically...
The hills are alive. The sound of...
They're still technically corporate beer, but the Bourbon County release stuff is great. It's always great.
Yep.
I think I still have like 2 bottles of Bourbon County from last year that I'm still holding on to.
I have a 2017 proprietor still.
Yeah. These are the beers that you can enjoy right away, and you can also age for the most part. And
for those not familiar with the Bourbon County Stout, it is an annual series of beers put out by Goose Island Brewing, which is an InBev subsidiary, but the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout and Goose Island themselves still run fairly autonomously from InBev. They do make their standard IPA and Pilsners and things like that, and they do send those out, and you can find those pretty much nationwide. But they also still get to be creative, and they also get to be creative and then also get nationwide distribution. Kind of like 10 Barrel in Oregon is also another one that a bunch of people got angry. Oh, you sold out. They still make great beer.
They still make good beer. Yeah.
What is their winter ale? Pray for Snow.
Yeah, Pray for Snow. Yeah, Pray for Snow.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite seasonal beers.
Yeah, no, I just had a friend who's a very, very big beer guy. He went down to Bend, went camping. He said his favorite beer place to go down in Bend was 10 Barrel.
10 Barrel. It's amazing. I either go to Deschutes or I go to 10 Barrel.
Yeah.
But so as long as you're making good beer and you're making it in a craft style, I don't care if you produce 1 million barrels or 500 barrels. As long as you're true to the craft, you're fine with me. The problem is when you get into the Budweisers and the Coors and whatnot, and they go, "Oh, we make a great Pilsner." No, you use 85% rice as your grain bill to save money, so it's cheap to produce. That's not thinking about the craft or the flavor. That's how much ABV can we cram into a can and still sell it as a light beer. Those are two very different concepts. Mm-hmm. And so making a good beer versus making a widely available, profitable beer are two very different things.
Very different things, yeah. But this is the Bourbon County lineup, and every year they do something different. And they have a wide variety of flavors, and they just announced the flavors that they're putting out. And some of them, we talked about this a little bit before the show started, but before we ran into all those wonderful problems. And a lot of them sound very, very interesting. The first one we got is Kentucky Fog Stout.
Yep. So they always come out with their traditional just bourbon County
barrel
stout.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is a bourbon barrel aged stout. It's usually in the neighborhood of about 13 to 15%. And it is usually a very, very good one. This year is aged for 1 year in Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace barrels.
Oh, it's going to be great.
So I'm looking forward to this year's.
Yes, me too.
But yeah, the Kentucky Fog, this is going to be an interesting one. Yeah. It is brewed with a mix of Earl Grey and black tea. And includes honey in it as well.
Yeah, so it's going to have like a sweet tea flavor to it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a Picard beer, basically.
And I want one of these.
Yes,
I want 5 of these.
I actually like, I mean, not because, I mean, I'm a big Star Trek fan too, but I like Earl Grey as a tea just because I like Earl Grey as a tea. Mm-hmm. And I think it complements, I think it would complement a bourbon barrel-aged beer quite well, actually.
I fully agree. I started drinking Earl Grey because, Picard drinks Earl Grey. I might as well give it a shot. And I found out he has really good taste.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I do like Earl Grey. I liked it before, but I still like it now. It's fine.
Right.
It's good. It's my go-to tea, actually.
Yep. Yeah. I'm usually a black tea. That's my everyday tea.
Yes, I like tea. Well, black tea's got the caffeine in it, so you want to go with that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kentucky Fog is going to be a tea blend, still with their traditional bourbon barrel aged stout. Mm-hmm. They have the special number 4 stout.
Yeah.
Which is the they usually do a coffee variant.
Yeah.
And they're not quite calling this a coffee variant, because this one I guess will be a little bit fruitier, but more of like a breakfast coffee, maple kind of thing stout.
Yeah. So it looks like a coffee blend with maple syrup.
Yeah. Yeah, coffee, maple, and vanilla.
Yeah.
There's the County Caramella Ale, which this one also sounds delicious.
Yes. So yeah, bourbon barrels with apple, cinnamon, and caramel flavors. Profile which resemble apple crisps, notes of caramel, red apple, and cinnamon. So it sounds like a dessert. It sounds like it sounds wonderful.
It's an apple pie stout.
Yes, exactly. Which I've had some like apple cinnamon stouts before.
Yeah.
But not bourbon barrel aged. So this one sounds pretty good. And then we got this one. This one was actually the one that I kind of found the most interesting, and I kind of want to try. It's called the Proprietors.
The new Proprietor Stout.
Proprietor Stout, which if anybody has ever been to an Italian restaurant and know what Spumoni is, it is a Spumoni-inspired bourbon barrel stout with pistachio, cherry, and chocolate. And in fact, John just brought over, because my brother's in town, and we've been I've been having many hangovers because of it.
As usually happens when Mike shows up.
Yes, exactly. But John brought over a pistachio cream ale, and it was really good. It was delicious, and I could taste the pistachio in it. So I am excited for this one, because if they can get the flavor balance right, I think it would be
pistachio and
cherry and chocolate. Yeah. Get those three to balance with the stout. I think it would be an excellent beer. If anybody can do it, it could be Goose Island.
Yep. So the Proprietor Stout is usually their fruit blend.
Yes.
So the one that I have is a blueberry and blackberry blend, and I've been waiting to try this one. It's the 2017 Proprietors is the one that I have in my fridge right now.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I want to try the Spumoni one. That sounds great.
Yeah, and then they have the Birthday Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah.
This one has me raising an eyebrow.
Yeah, I don't know if this one's going to be good or not. It sounds interesting. So it says it's coupled with light maple, caramel cake, and white floral notes, and I'm not too sure what that means.
Right.
Maybe they're going for like birthday cake flavor, I'm guessing, because they call it birthday bourbon. Who knows? I mean, it could be okay. It's probably going to be like super sweet. That's going to be my prediction.
Yeah. So I asked Skull how much for 2 cases shipped, and he says might be cheaper for a plane ticket back. So I told him he could sleep on my couch.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
He's there. Yeah.
So yeah, the Birthday Bourbon County Stout, birthday cake inspired.
Yes, I think so. That's my thought. It's going to be anyway.
Yeah.
It's maple chocolate vanilla.
Then there's the Anniversary, which also sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah. They're saying like what we got? Like expect notes of dried fruit, bourbon, chocolate, and vanilla.
In what will most likely be the strongest beer in this lineup.
Yeah.
Did you catch that line?
So I'm guessing it's going to be the higher ABV of all of them.
They usually come out with one that pushes like 15.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be the one. This is going to be the big, most expensive one.
Yeah.
With a big flavor profile and big ABV.
Yep.
Which probably is going to be good nonetheless.
I need to get them to send me out a sampler pack. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we talk about the Bourbon County stuff whenever it comes out, especially John. I mean, John, you gotta start pushing this stuff too. We can get some sponsors. Come on, we get some sponsors.
I need to get more beer sponsors. So I've received free beer from a couple different companies before. Rogue is probably the biggest one. They've sent me out a couple different different packs, different cases, and I've also done a giveaway for them. But I need to get some more beer sponsors on the show because, quite honestly, my beer budget can't sustain my full-time career.
Not with this Bourbon County stuff.
Right.
We got with me and John and my brother Mike inadvertently got a distiller sponsor. Inadvertently.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother, he lives down in Southern California, and I guess he knew somebody who was. Orange County had just released they just opened a distillery, and they sent him up with 3 bottles of some stuff. A bourbon, a gin, and an aquavit, which I had never had before.
You never had aquavit before?
Never had an aquavit before. It was a bit of a shock.
How was that?
Well, I was looking at the ingredients, and I'm like, there's dill in this? It's like, oh my God, another thing with dill in it?
Yep.
I struggled to find what I can have with the aquavit, but it was still a fun video. John just posted it yesterday. So anybody here listening, go to Hops and Brews and check out the video with me, my brother Mike, and John, and we review those 3 liquors. which was monster.
All right. All right either means take a shot, or we're moving on to the next story.
We're moving on to the next story. And are you done with your beer yet?
I'm literally taking the last.
I'm taking the last swig too here. We should probably open the next one.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, so
that was really good. That I'm gonna give a real quick review on this one. So again, Kettle Beer Works Krabby Louie. That was solid.
Yeah,
it was an IPA that is not a traditional Northwest West Coast IPA. It's not a hazy. It's not a juicy.
Yeah, you seem kind of mixed on the whole thing. Yeah,
this was solid. I really thoroughly enjoyed this entire thing.
I like the non-traditional styles of beer that kind of surprise you and you still enjoy.
Yeah,
I've had a few that were non-traditional and I absolutely hated. Mm-hmm. But there's some that I've had that I actually really enjoyed. So I'm glad that you actually enjoyed that one.
Yeah, the hop mix in here is something that I'm not used to.
Yeah,
for sure. It reminds me a little bit of the Sierra Nevada with what do they use? The Chinook and Amarillo hops.
Yeah,
is that right? It reminded me somewhat of that, but there's also something else in this beer that just it gives it this little sweetness, and you're kind of left with.
It could be the additional malt profile, because if it's a higher ABV, they could have a particular specialty malt, maybe like a crystal malt or maybe a honey malt, that gives us this extra malty sweetness to it. That tends to work out really well with some IPAs.
They don't say what hops or what malts they're using in this, but it reminded me, if I got to find the closest parallel, it's the Sierra Nevada Pale.
Okay. That's a great one.
And so it's a great one, but this was a really thick version of that. Kind of a little bit of a dankiness on the back end, but it didn't have any of the, like, my mouth isn't coated. Usually with the dank IPAs like we get out of level 15 and beers like that, it's just oily and thick and coats everything. That's all you can taste for the next 3 hours. This one had that flavor profile, and it was gone in 30 seconds.
Okay, so it wasn't like anything that just coated your mouth or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of something like maybe Boneyard would put out or something like that, like their Hop Venom or something. Yeah, like the double IPAs or something. Yeah, that sounds good.
This was really good. So anyway, go for it.
All right.
Floor is yours.
Mine is going to be, I'm going to mix it up from an IPA. I'm going to go with Boulevard, the 6 glass quadruple. So it's a quad. Boulevard is in Colorado.
Colorado.
No, I take that back. Sorry. Kansas City. Kansas City, Missouri. All right. But it's a quad. One of my favorite styles.
Love a good Belgian. Oh, God. I love a good Belgian.
Smells good. This smells really good. Very malty, sweet. Not much hop flavor to it all. Oh, my goodness. Okay. That's a John Pour.
I have the John Pour of all John Pours in my video tomorrow.
Oof.
I drank about 12 ounces of foam before I hit beer.
Well, thankfully this one's not too bad. Well, let's. I tried pouring it slow at first, but we'll keep this thing going. It's got a very good amber flavor or amber color.
Nice,
as you can see.
Kind of like a creamsicle or cream soda head on it.
Yeah, it looks like a cream soda, basically.
Yeah.
Very thick. Smells like a great Belgian. Oh, yeah. That's... Oh, no, okay. That's good.
I'm a little jealous right now because I'm opening another one from Bite My Bits.
Okay, no.
So speaking of the Kansas area, this one's from the Kansas side of the border. This is El Dorado, Kansas. This is Walnut.
But he bought that at a Come and Go.
He claims.
Yeah, probably.
I'd be surprised if a Come and Go had more than 30 varieties of beer.
Well, yeah.
So to be fair, I think he talks a big game. He talks a lot of smack. At the same time, he also wrote me a letter.
Yeah, that's true.
And apologized for I'm sorry if you lost any subscribers, and I hope we're cool.
Well, he was giving you crap at the beginning of this.
And then he bought me like $300 in beer. So
hey, you take the good with the bad.
Water under the bridge.
Exactly.
What am I going to say? So this is from Walnut River Brewing in El Dorado, Kansas. This is the High Beam IPA. It's got an old Ford pickup on there with the old Ford F-Series, F100 kind of style pickup. This is it's an IPA. I'm 7.7.
No, nice. This one, I didn't say the ABV. This one's, oh, good lord. This is a
Should
10
you have opened that tonight?
This is a 10.2. Oh, no wonder why I'm enjoying it so much.
All right, so this is a 7.7.
Okay.
Now, I've had 2 other beers from El Dorado, and I did not like either one of them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, that wasn't a John pour, and then all of a sudden it was.
It was. Yeah, no, this one is... Okay, so the foam went down really quickly on this.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it is a really good quad. If you can find this thing, it's a little boozy. I ain't gonna lie. It's 10.2.
It's 11%.
It's 10. Yes, basically. It's a little boozy, but it still has that very good, sweet, malty, Belgian-y flavor.
Nice.
That you expect from a quad.
Yep.
Not offensive at all.
Still getting those esters and a lot of that clove.
Exactly.
And,
yes.
Oh yeah.
A good sweet aftertaste. It's phenomenal. I really like this one. Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna sipping on this for the rest of the night. To be honest, I have.
Oh, I hope you do.
I have a third one, but I don't think I'm gonna be.
Say don't chug that one.
Yeah, I know.
Like my 9.5 was enough.
Yeah,
I know. I'm feeling okay right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're saying like Boulevard. They do distribute quite readily all over the Pacific Northwest because they're from Kansas City, but you can find them in most places around here. I think I found this one at John's Marketplace.
Okay.
But John's Marketplace sells pretty much everything, so not surprising.
Yep, it's about what I've been getting from El Dorado. Little bit of dirt. Like that good Eastern Oregon dirt.
Oh, yeah.
And you know the kind of dirt I'm talking about.
You know what?
The kind of dirt with some volcano in it.
The very first IPA I ever homebrewed had that dirt flavor to it.
Yep.
And so that kind of actually makes me feel...
All of their beers have been like this.
That makes me feel a little better.
I don't think they're different beers. I think they're just slapping different labels on them.
There's like we made a shit ton of this stuff, and we're just gonna relabel this every single time, see if we can sell it. I get it.
Yeah, I should have started with this one.
Yeah, no, this one's a good one, man. Oh,
now I'm let down, and I'm gonna want something else. That's the problem.
Hey, well, you know what? It's your show. You can do what you want. I ain't gonna stop you.
That's right. That's right. I can. Anyway, let's move on to a little bit of gaming talk. We had one more beer story lined up, but we might double back to it if we have time at the end.
If we have, okay, let's go on. Let's go some gaming news.
So Rhett and I talked last week about revolutions in gameplay and landmark games. So I forget which game brought it up, but Half-Life is like the tech demo to end all tech demos when they
it definitely
came out.
is.
And,
yeah, I agree.
Quake and Doom for inventing the first person shooter as we kind of know it today.
Castle Wolfenstein would probably be the first.
Wolfenstein was the first. Doom took it to another level.
Yes, I agree.
Right.
Yes,
so
I agree.
So Wolfenstein, but there were so many different Wolfensteins that came out around
3D.
the same time.
Wolfenstein 3D, yeah.
Right, Wolfenstein 3D. But you had Blake Stone, Alien Carnage, and all those other games were mixed right in that at the same time. Yeah. Wolfenstein was the most popular of that bunch. and certainly probably the better game of all that bunch, both graphically and gameplay wise. But it was still 100% a 2D plane.
Yes.
Very limited in as far as like imagination and as far as the levels, and all the levels were mazes to that point, which we've done mazes before. Look at the Elder Scrolls, Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall was a maze, not a shooter, but a maze RPG.
I think Daggerfall actually came out after Doom did. I'm almost positive.
Did it?
I'm pretty sure Daggerfall came after Doom 2.
Because I know there were also some RPGs that were in the early 90s that were in a 3D maze style.
Yes, you had the old dungeon crawlers like Eye of Beholder, the D&D Eye of Beholder, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they weren't true 3D in the sense they had a kind of maze mapping, but it was segmented. Yeah, they had segmented screens that you would go from one screen to the next. Yeah,
it would fade to the next quadrant.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
right, exactly. And so yes, but I've always placed Wolfenstein in kind of that transition phase where we went kind of from 2D to 3D, and they still didn't know what to do with 3D.
Yes.
Whereas Doom took the 3D model and said, we're going to use all three dimensions. We're going to.
No. I don't want to disagree, but I'm going to disagree.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm not on split screen. I was the big man in the room for a second there. Go ahead.
So the first 3D, the first actual real 3D one was Quake.
Yes,
it was Quake. Because like if you remember, Doom,
with 3D characters, you're right.
Right, exactly. 3D characters and a full 3D like looking up, looking down.
Yes.
Because if you remember, with even Doom did have levels.
Yeah.
Right. You went into a room and there was an enemy on an upper level, but if you turned and looked and you shot, your shot automatically went to them. You didn't have to aim at them.
It had auto vertical aim.
Vertical aim. So there was so you were still shooting on a level playing field.
Yes,
and it wasn't true 3D. It
wasn't true 3D. It was 3D. It was 3D environment with 2D sprites.
Yes.
And I fully acknowledge that. But what I'm saying is, it's the first one that integrated. Oh, I can take an elevator up. Oh, there's stairs.
They did take that technology to the next level.
Right.
Doom did.
And so I always say Doom was the first to kind of invent what should a 3D shooter be.
It was. It was telling you what could be. Yes.
Right.
I agree with that.
So I think we agree there.
Yeah, I agree there.
But we also looked at we were talking about Halo. That's right. And how Halo kind of invented what we think of as modern multiplayer first-person shooter.
I kind of disagree with that too.
On the console.
Oh, on the console, I would agree. On the console, yes.
On the PC, there were games 6 years before that blew your mind.
No, it definitely. Halo brought first-person shooters to the console, no doubt.
Right. But the game that kind of started the first-person shooter on the console was GoldenEye. It was the first.
I agree with
100% 3D first-person shooter multiplayer 4-player split screen that had all of the elements that we look for in a modern first-person shooter title.
Correct.
It had different game modes. It had capture the flag. It had man with the golden gun. It had slappers only. It had a lot of different environments that you could play in. None of them really open world, unless you want to kind of count the train yard, but no one ever played in that.
Yeah.
But GoldenEye always will have its place in history as kind of one of the first.
100%, yes.
Well, it's also no stranger to remakes.
Yes. I think we're on
or attempted fan remakes.
Yes.
How's that?
Yes, attempted fan remakes, yes.
I will say I played the first 2 levels of GoldenEye remade in the style of Half-Life Alyx in VR, and my mind is blown.
Oh, did you like it?
Loved it.
Okay,
like
good.
You can't even imagine, because it is so familiar and yet so foreign, all at the same time.
Right.
And all of the elements that you recognize are there, but
the interface is probably completely different.
But the interface, the gameplay, the everything
completely
is
different. Yeah,
you're shooting Covenant soldiers with the reload style of Half-Life Alyx, and I've never been that immersed in a GoldenEye game before. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But that is all to say that GoldenEye is no stranger to the fan make and the fan remake community.
Definitely. Yeah.
And one of the more popular ones that was up and coming was GoldenEye 25.
Yes.
So there was a very industrious modder who was trying to recreate GoldenEye in a modern 3D engine and was literally modeling everything from the ground up.
Yeah, he wasn't taking any old resources or anything. He was like, just, this is what I think this would look like, and try to make a modern rendition of it.
If we made this game today, this is what GoldenEye would look like today.
Right. That's what his goal was. Yeah.
Right. So GoldenEye 25, unfortunately, finally received that cease and desist from Rareware.
Which, you
hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
But you knew it was coming.
Is Rare owned by Nintendo anymore? Or is it Microsoft?
Rare is owned by Microsoft.
Yes, I thought. Yeah, because it used to be Nintendo, now it's Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprising though, because they own that IP. I think MGM owns a lot of the characters from GoldenEye to begin with. Not surprising. Anything that gets a huge following that has a copywritten character associated with it is bound to get the cease and desist. Almost bound to. Except for projects like Black Mesa.
Yeah. Well, the difference with Black Mesa is Black Mesa had the full blessing of Valve.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they built it using their toolkit.
They did, but I mean, and they were completely outside of Valve what they were doing, and I don't think outside of like maybe because they're selling it on Steam, Valve got no money from this. Right. Outside of them selling it, but they endorsed it, and I wish more studios would get behind that and be like, hey, you're propagating this IP that we already have. Go ahead and do it. Right. Just give me a small cut. And then they'd be okay with it.
As long as you're doing it right. As long as you're doing it justice.
Right.
We're behind you.
But I mean, if it's got a ground, if it's already being a groundswell, like it's something that's being financed through like, GoFundMe or something like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's the fans that are propagating this. Right. Obviously, it's the fans that are going to buy this. So why not let them have it? Why not?
Right. Well, there's two schools of thought to this, and I'm going to piss off half the gamers in the room by saying this. We don't own the IP.
That is true.
It is not our IP. GoldenEye is not mine. Mario is not mine. Pokemon is not mine. Halo is not mine. I don't own it. I have deep nostalgia for it. I feel ownership of it.
Right.
But I don't own it. It's not mine. And here's the problem, not to cut you off, but here's the problem when you venture into the fan remake area of something, is as a remake, you are using intellectual property of another company. That other company has their own image that they want to maintain. And they are more than entitled to try to maintain that image. And I'm going to speculate here for a second. Okay. Allow me the one if.
Sure.
This argument only has one if.
Okay.
If a developer of one of these remakes puts something into the game that the developers do not find kosher, that's a problem for the developer. How do you judge that? You can't judge them all.
Well, I mean...
So you get blanket C&Ds.
Okay, but for the most part, the developer, or even the original developers, usually don't have much say in that. It's usually the owners of the IP.
I'm talking the owners of the IP.
Yeah, that's the owner of the IP. Yeah. But that's the thing, is like for the most part, they don't have... They probably have not even reviewed it. They're just like, this is our
I guarantee
product.
They haven't. But they're not going to review it. They're not going to endorse it. On the off chance that something in there, what happens? Look at Take-Two. Look at GTA. Look at Hot Coffee. Look at Hot Coffee, which was coded into the game and then later removed, and then people found out a way to activate it. And Take-Two had to do damage control for that.
I completely understand your concerns about that. Like, you don't.
What happens if that incident happens?
Yeah, you don't want somebody like Nintendo.
And you've given the blessing to that organization.
No, nobody wants to make Mario After Dark, and Nintendo is going to put a kibosh on that, right? Like, Nintendo doesn't want that, and I understand that.
Well, I think Bowsette begs to disagree with you, but
I mean, you know what I mean? They obviously had a passion for this project.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I mentioned like Black Mesa, is because they obviously had a passion for it, and Valve recognized it and they gave it their blessing, right?
Yeah.
Valve could have put the kibosh on it early on, but they didn't. They recognized their passion for it. They recognized that they're trying to make a honest replication of what they did with the new engines.
Yep.
This looked like the same thing. A lot of people were behind it. A lot of people liked it. There was a big positive take about it. There wasn't a man with a penis gun or anything like that. They were trying to do it. There wasn't anything that was going to crap on the original IP.
Pew 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 pew.
Yeah, I know. There was nothing that they were going to do about that. So why they wanted to squash it is beyond me. It's just like a bunch of lawyers trying to do.
It's lawyers, executives, etc. Who have said we have zero tolerance for anyone using our IP. However, in this particular case, they looked at the entire base of what was presented, and said, "Here's where we take issue with our IP. However, the rest of your system you can move forward with."
Well, that's fine, and that's the thing. They could have looked at that, and that's what this article said. They had got a cease and desist order. And they're saying, well, you're using characters that belong to MGM with the James Bond and all the other things. But the rest of the stuff is fine. You can use it. Well, if they were smart, they'd be like, go ahead and use it. But if it becomes successful, give us X amount, right? Give us a little bit of royalties from this. And they probably would have been okay with it. They would probably say, yes, okay. Because if it wasn't successful, no skin off their back, because they didn't have to put any effort into it. Just we give you the license to use these characters.
Right.
If it was successful, they get a bunch of money for doing nothing. I mean, it would have literally been a win-win for them. But they had to be assholes about the whole thing. To be quite honest, they really did. I mean, because it's a fan-made thing. It's a ground roots type of effort for people who want to make a remake of GoldenEye because they love it. And they're probably still going to finish it, but they're just not going to have the same characters.
Right.
From what it looks like.
So, in a Twitter post, they said, so many notifications is breaking Twitter, so sorry if I missed some questions and comments. Some things we can still use. So, they had the game 80% complete.
Yeah.
And the good news about this C&D is it's not a cease production and destroy all materials.
Right.
This was you cannot use licensed characters from MGM films.
Exactly. And
I'm going to side with the studios on this one.
It is absolutely their prerogative. I get
James Bond is one of the biggest franchises in movie history. You can't use him.
I honestly get that. Get that. But this could have been a win-win for them. The thing was 80% done. All they had to do was say, like, yeah, go ahead, give us like 10% or whatever.
But if you don't have, let's just say, you don't have the budget right now to hire 3 developers to overlook the entirety of the code.
They don't need to.
Sign up.
They don't need to. They honestly do not need to.
Yes and no.
No,
yes
they
and
don't.
No. Because if your lawyers speak, you need to also cover your own liabilities. And if you give something an endorsement and later on it turns around and bites the company in the ass, you're liable for that.
Honestly,
that bite in the ass.
Honestly, if this remake fails and people don't like it, is it going to affect the box office sales of the next James Bond movie?
The sales of GoldenEye 007? No, it's not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But
no one's going to care.
Companies still have a right to defend their IP.
They do. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying I think it was a dumb move.
Okay, and that's fair.
I just think it was a dumb move. I think it could have been a win-win for them, but they had the thumbs up their asses. Whatever.
Yep. Anyway, so they said you cannot use licensed MGM characters. You can't use Natasha. You can't use.
Yeah, they're well within their rights to say that. I just think it was a bad move on their part.
Some things we still can use: the entire watch menu. So the whole look at your watch and bring up the menu system and the health chart and shields and everything, that's all still good. Weapons and ammo system. So any models of weapons that they've created and any ammo system, any replicas, whatever, lookalikes, they're all still good. Portions of levels. So levels that they've recreated, they're still allowed to use. Game code. Anything they've written is their own IP. They didn't take any game code, and so all the game code they wrote, they 100% earn. Large library of 3D models and textures that they create, and also sound effects that they created. So, again, because this guy studio, Spies Don't Die on Twitter, I don't know if this is a studio or just an individual or two, because they went about this kind of the right way, and they recreated everything from scratch.
Right.
They're good.
And that's the thing, is like they recreated everything from scratch.
And the reason they're good is because GoldenEye created what we know as the first-person shooter on the console. And so the concepts anymore are public domain. It's not proprietary IP. It's not there's been a couple different menu systems with watches because GoldenEye kind of made it famous. There's quite a few interfaces with the cell phone as a menu system in game because GTA made it famous. And those are now public IPs. You cannot copyright a play style, a game mechanic, or a menu system.
Right, you can't.
That's not copyrightable. The only thing you can copyright is actual things that are eligible for trademark.
Well,
so that would be characters, places,
and that's
locations.
True, and that's unfortunately they probably put a lot of effort into this game, and playstyle wise, because they are basically replicating GoldenEye. Playstyle wise, things have migrated, right?
Yeah,
people don't really play those games anymore.
Not that style anymore.
Not that style anymore. Right. So if they replicate that style, but they put different characters in there and they release it as a different game, sadly, probably not going to be that successful. Outside of it,
the D said Steve's drunk and should shut up.
I know. It's we can talk about that later, D. I know I'm right, but it's okay, buddy.
Just letting you know I saw you, D.
Yeah, I know. I already told him. I told him I should probably shut up, but whatever.
I'm not there, but I'm getting close.
Yeah. Well, dude, this it's at almost 11%. It's getting me there.
Yeah. Yeah. This is still a very subpar IPA. I'm gonna say
this is quite an excellent Belgian.
And it's not just because Jason touched the can before I received it.
I think it might have had something to do with it.
That certainly doesn't do it any favors.
There's probably a little bit of taint that when he had to touch it. Something went on. There's some.
Is that
contact.
How he loaded the box?
Yeah. He might have tainted the lid a little bit when you had to pour stuff out. Might have been something on the rim.
No, I alcohol wiped that when it arrived.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
Yeah,
that's very smart.
Thinking. All right. What do we got next?
Okay, next. So this, I had never heard of this game before, but it caught my eye because
you don't own it on Steam.
I don't. It's one of the few games I actually do not own on Steam. Well, because it just came out. It came out about 2 weeks ago, and they are already at
2 million.
2 million players.
Yeah.
And it's a Devolver game called Fall Guys.
Which, by the way, I love Devolver Digital.
I know. I love them too. Like all their press releases that they had at E3 and stuff like that. Very creative, very great, very funny.
If you want a snarky Twitter follow Devolver Digital on Twitter.
They're very good. So
There's no filter. It's great.
It is good. So I have never ever heard of this game, and I went and looked at it, and it looks actually a lot of fun. It looks like a massively multiplayer Japanese game show is what this looks like. So what the thing is you get onto a server and there's 60 players. They just dump you into this thing, and there's like this I know a lot of our Discord users, we used to play a lot of Human Fall Flat.
Yes.
With this kind of like gummy physics type of a thing. Yes, you just play like, and so that's what the physics is with this game. But you're going through this crazy obstacle course with like 60 other players, and you're trying to get to the end.
Okay.
And so it's just this.
Oh, is this the get through the doors?
It's more than just that. There's like I'm not 100% sure because I just watched the video, a couple of videos, and then I went onto like Twitch and saw that it was trending really high, and then on the Facebook game thing that they just released now, it's also trending really high. So people are really liking this game.
Yeah.
Looked at it. It looks a lot of fun. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. It looks like you just kind of hit forward and see if you make it type of a thing. But it's gummy physics. You have to go through obstacles. You have to jump through hoops. It kind of a mix of like human fall flat and elimination type of
right.
PUBG type stuff, because you die, you're out type of thing.
Right.
That looked kind of fun. But they got 2 million followers already. So it's a fast upcoming game that I don't know. Maybe you should try it out.
Emma says, my nieces and nephews have been playing that. They absolutely love it. Sometimes the servers are so overloaded that the game crashes. It's crazy.
Right. That's the thing. This is one of the things that you cannot have anybody that doesn't play it. So unless it's not popular, it won't work. But obviously this is popular. So it looks like a lot of fun. And it's only like $20. It's not expensive to play.
Right.
I'm thinking about picking it up and just trying it just to see how it works.
It sounds interesting.
It sounds interesting.
I will say that.
And the fact that it grew that fast, that quickly, from a Devolver, which is not a big developer, but
not a huge developer.
Not a huge developer.
They're known, but they're not a big company.
But they've made one of our favorite games that they made.
My Friend Pedro.
My Friend Pedro, which was a great game. We both played it, both loved it.
That game.
So they're quirky. They like to take risks, and it looks like it's paid off for them right here, because good gosh, that many users that quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not hold the test of time, but right now it's very hot. And it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I kind of might want to I kind of want to try it because I want to see what my 3-year-old thinks of it. Because
I will say my girls both love Untitled Goose Game.
Ooh.
We still play that sometimes.
I would highly recommend you take a look at this game, because it's very colorful. Kids would love it.
Yeah.
The characters are super cute, kind of pudgy, walking around. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They would probably like it.
As soon as I saw some of the screenshots, I went, "Oh, this is probably like Human Fall Flat."
Yeah, the physics look very much like Human Fall Flat.
Yeah. Which I loved that game.
No, I do too.
Such a fun game.
It is a fun game, but this is like 60 players at a time doing everything at once, bouncing off of each other and flailing everywhere. Yep. It looks probably like a lot of fun.
Probably one of the best multiplayer game or experiences that I've had was a bunch of friends right after the Wii came out.
Mm-hmm.
Were playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Yeah.
And we played for an entire night, and all we did was try to throw each other off cliffs.
Yeah.
And we somehow made it to the 7th world. Literally just killing each other along the way until you're the last man standing, and it's like, no, don't die, come on, make it to the end. And all of a sudden you're rooting for like the last man standing.
I'm seeing this on Discord.
Greatest
like,
gaming.
Everybody's saying like, oh yes, we should play this. My son just installed this. It looks like it looks like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. It sounds like fun.
It sounds like fun.
Might happen. It might happen.
It might happen.
Join the Discord, by the way. Yeah. The way you do that is getting onto the Patreon link down in the video description.
There's somebody posted something. Oh no, holodeck's not about that. But yeah, no, it looks like something fun. And we used to play quite a bit of Human Fall Flat on the Discord.
Yes. But yeah, get over to the Discord. Link is down in the video description. You have to join the Patreon to get there, but hey, the Patreon is how I keep my lights on around here. Minimum donation of $1 per month. You'll get exclusive access to the Discord server. You can chat with myself, Steve, John, Brett. I forgot their names for a second. And chat with us pretty much any time of day. One of us is pretty much always online, and it's a community of over 200 active members right now. 300 in total. And honestly, a freaking awesome place to be, and I'm not just saying that because I started it. No. I'm saying that because it's freaking awesome.
It is great. It is really great. We have a great mix of people. And everybody's
most of them are pretty cool.
No, most of them, except for the D, who called me out. So no, I'm not gonna
screw you, D.
Yeah,
screw you.
Banned. He's banned now.
Banned. Mods, arrest that man.
Gone. He's gone. Once I finish this quad, he's gone. You got that much time?
I think you got a while, man.
I got a while. I may never.
Steve
finish
ain't
it.
doing nothing after that quad.
Yeah, I know.
What else do we have?
Oh, so this is a very interesting thing. So
a little esports news, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite foods in the world is hot wings. Ain't gonna lie, I love a good hot sauce with good hot wings. The default Buffalo Wild Wings stuff, I don't like, but anything else, like any kind of other wild wing, any kind of like buffaloes or any kind
you
of
go anywhere else and they say we have hot wings and you go, oh, hook me up.
Yeah, exactly.
But you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you're like, I'll have a Widmer Hef, please.
Right, exactly, yeah. But because they are a big sports bar, they are now the official sports bar for League of Legends.
League of Legends.
So you
happening on Buffalo Wild Wings big screens because they can't play any other sports right now.
Right, exactly. I think this is quite advantageous for them, right?
Yes.
We have some basketball going on, and we have a little bit of baseball, but not much else.
Until they can't do baseball anymore.
The baseball is not looking great at this.
Wow.
You would think that basketball would be the first one to go down, but no. But the one thing that could go on into eternity.
No, but let's do a benches clearing brawl in the Astros game and see how that works out for us. When we've already had positive tests in our attempt to come back.
Wow, and that was great. But what better to pair with some Wild Wings is some League of Legends.
Yeah.
And they're going to start broadcasting League of Legends on the summer playoffs, I guess. Buffalo Wild Wings has the summer playoffs starting Friday, August 14th.
Yep, this Friday.
Yeah.
League of Legends playoffs live at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I haven't personally been a fan of watching League of Legends. I know how to play it. I've seen a couple of rounds. Not for me. I know there's a lot of people who love it. But I'm
not going to say anything disparaging about League of Legends on this channel because I've seen the community.
No, I played a little bit of it, and it's a bit of a steep learning curve to get into it, and I understand the appeal. I honestly do understand the appeal, but I'm not into it, and I don't like watching it. But the fact that it's reached the point where Buffalo Wild Wings is sponsoring it and a crowd of people will go there and eat wings and drink beer and watch it, I kind of find that pretty cool, actually. I
do as well. As an old school StarCraft player, and someone who before any of the game streaming was a thing, liked watching StarCraft tournaments.
Right. Oh no. If Buffalo Wild Wings did StarCraft tournaments, I would go watch that. I would go watch that. I would go watch that. But because of that, I also understand how people would like to watch League of Legends. I understand that. Right. I personally am not into it, but I understand it. So more power to them. And I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think if it becomes more widespread and becomes more acceptable type of thing, maybe we will see a StarCraft tournament.
We could.
At a Buffalo Wild Wings.
We got marble racing on ESPN. Why not StarCraft 2? Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, StarCraft 2, honestly, more exciting than marble racing.
I don't know, because I got onto the marble racing subreddit a couple years ago, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then I thought it had died out entirely, and then all of a sudden I'm watching ESPN one day, and there's marble racing on my TV, and I'm like, I know that guy! What the hell?
He was on the Reddit! I saw at one time. Yeah, he's a dude. Yeah.
But they would make custom sand tracks for marbles and let them go at the top, and it'd be a 5-minute video that you'd watch, and you'd be rooting for your marble the whole way.
Yeah. Okay, decent El Po Diablo wing sauce. Yes, I agree. Yep. I love making my own wing sauce. I'm big into hot sauces. I have several like ghost pepper high-end sauces that are very flavorful. I love them. There's a El
Steve
Jefe's.
tastes the flavor.
Oh god,
I don't so much.
I love the hot sauce. If anybody out there has their favorite hot sauce that they do is absolutely delicious, wants to send it to me, I will appreciate that. My wife might not, but I would.
Send it to my P.O. box. If it's a hot sauce, I'll make sure Steve gets it.
Yes, that's right. I love a good hot sauce.
I don't dislike spicy foods at all. In fact, I
Mm-hmm.
really like spicy foods. I love a good General Tso chicken.
Yes,
I love
I do too.
I love a good pad thai.
Yeah.
I don't like heat for the sake of heat.
No,
I like heat with a lot of flavor to it, and when the flavor is done, I don't want to be left with nothing but heat.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. It starts out that way. It starts out with like, I like flavor and heat together, and then flavor and heat together ends up being drinks, and then drinks, and then drinks, and then pretty soon it's like, how hot can you take it? And then the next morning you're like thankful that you have a bidet. Because that cool water, man, the next morning ain't nothing like it.
Hot sauce or spotted cow, send it to Steve. You're darn right.
That's right. Damn straight.
I don't need another spotted cow in my life.
Hot sauce. I love a good hot sauce. And hey, if anybody wants to trade hot sauces, I'm not opposed to trading hot sauces. There's some local hot sauces that are really great.
Really good.
That I would be aardvark sauce. I think you can buy it on Amazon, but it is a local hot sauce fair. But in my opinion, probably the best hot sauce ever invented.
Ooh,
I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that right now. The best hot sauce ever made. I was talking with my brother today. It is the perfect balance of heat, sweet, and tastiness.
Yeah. See, and I really like sweet in a hot sauce too.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for sweet.
Yeah. It's got carrots for sweetness, tomatoes for savoriness, and habaneros for spice.
Ooh.
All three of those together is perfect. It's very good. It's a little chunky, a little on the chunky side, but it's very good.
I'm not a hot sauce fan. You have me intrigued.
You've never had aardvark sauce before, Jeff?
I've never had aardvark sauce.
What? No, dude. That's a Northwest staple, man. You gotta have it. Okay.
It's not something I gravitate towards. So
I'm buying you a bottle of hot sauce. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts.
You've got my attention.
There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're getting some.
You
hot
had
sauce.
my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
I actually have a vodka. I have a vodka that was made with aardvark hot sauce. A spicy vodka that's made with aardvark hot sauce.
Okay.
It's from Burnside Distillery.
Okay. Yeah. I've got quite a few things from Burnside. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
There's even a few people on the chat that says that aardvark sauce is great.
Yep. First and ever listing as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some of that.
Yeah, it's good. All right, you want to do the last one, or do you want to just call it?
This last one's kind of interesting.
I do like this one. I find this one's pretty cool, and I didn't know that there was a genre. There's actually a genre behind this.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty intriguing. So there was somebody who was so fascinated with the idea of lock-picking minigames.
Lock-picking mechanics inside of games.
Lock-picking mechanics in games that he made a virtual lock-picking museum. And you can download this thing right now. It's free. You can go on itch.io, which is an unfortunate name for a website.
Right.
I love the idea that they put out. I hate the name. But
right.
But that you can go through and download this game, and it goes through and it shows right there on the exhibit per se for this video game. This is the locking mechanism for Deus Ex, for Oblivion, and different games, and you can go through and look at the unlocking mechanism for this particular game, for this
Mm-hmm.
unlocking minigame, which is interesting. And I guess there's a few other museums that they have, virtual museums. There's a virtual museum for fishing minigames. There's a virtual museum for water, all that. I thought that was kind of fascinating. Something that somebody would love, the different aspects of unlocking a lock or fishing or something, that someone would dedicate a whole subgenre of looking at these mechanics and just trying to figure. Yeah, like I love lockpicking. Yeah, some people love lockpicking.
I will say there are some mini games out of some series of games that I do enjoy quite a bit. I like the crane machine from wasn't Wind Waker, it was the Game Boy Link game. Game Boy Zelda game, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Coland Island, like it's all up here.
Yeah,
I got it.
I liked the lockpicking mechanism on Skyrim, which was
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't too nuanced, but it was just like, oh, where's it shaking a little bit, and you can click it. I liked it. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Oblivion one so much, but the Deus Ex one, I liked that one quite a bit. It's kind of an interesting dichotomy, and I think there could be some metrics that a lot of developers can get from that, because you put that out there, and there's a lot of metadata that people will be like, I like this, especially if you can rate it, right? I like this mechanic versus this mechanic. And in future games, you can be like, okay, maybe we need to do a combo of these two, or maybe we can like think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
I find that fascinating for developers who want to find like a new way of implementing lockpicking or fishing or whatever by looking in the past and seeing what other people have done and what has been successful and what people like.
Yeah. I will say there are some great mini games inside of some games. There's the fishing and the crane machine from Link's Awakening. There's slots inside of Final Fantasy.
Right.
There. I mean, you think of the games that you went, I turned on the game and I ended up spending an hour playing a mini game inside of like a role-playing game. Right. Totally. That's a totally winning mechanic. There's also a lot that could do without those certain mini games. And the ones that I'm thinking of are the ones that you have scripted animations with button presses where if you don't press a button in time, all of a sudden you're sent back and you need to do the button presses again.
Those are the worst.
I'm thinking of Force Unleashed. I'm thinking of press F to pay respects. I'm thinking of
that's
all of the Tomb Raider games for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Just Cause with the helicopter hijacking mechanic.
I think QVE needs to just go away.
It needs to go away.
Yeah,
it's a stupid mechanic.
Yeah. I don't like
if your mechanic can be explained by the pre-scripted animation you already have done, and there's only one of two outcomes, which is either you're successful or you failed.
Yeah.
The mechanic needs to go away, and it needs to be replaced with a pre-scripted animation. Right. So I don't feel frustrated as a gamer.
I mean, if you were to replace that with like a script where, say, if I choose X versus X and the storyline changes, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that if I don't press this button fast enough and then it's game over, that's stupid. That's not a game mechanic. That's just garbage. I mean, yeah. So
press X to Sean.
Yeah, exactly.
Sean!
Yeah, I know.
Sean!
That's not great.
Sean!
So I kind of appreciate these little, and I find it kind of interesting because I mean,
Sean!
Artists will go to museums to be inspired by paintings, right? They'll go to different museums and be inspired by paintings, and then they'll create something that they're inspired by.
Right.
I kind of find this fascinating because they're making a museum for a mechanic for gaming that developers could potentially go in and look at and say, okay, this is what they've done in the past, and be inspired by something new.
Mm-hmm.
I find that kind of fascinating, actually, because it's like, well, maybe there's something that they saw from this that inspired them to do something better or to be something more interesting. And I kind of like that. I think that's and it's free. You can go there and download it and play it if you want to. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there were some mini games in games. Let's take lockpicking. I mean, let's stay in the style of this one. Let's look at Oblivion versus Skyrim.
Yeah,
I really liked the lockpicking in Skyrim. I didn't so much like it in Oblivion.
Yeah, it was a little more tedious, but in Skyrim it was more nuanced. But it was still fun in a sense. Right. Yeah, and I liked it.
It was still fun. You had the dual stick action, so you're like, okay, I've got my pin, I've got my hook, I've got know. And whatnot, and it felt a little bit like you were kind of manipulating a lock. You couldn't see inside the lock, whereas Oblivion, it's like push the pin up and then press your mouse to put tension on the cylinder.
And that's not real life, but it was still a mini game. So it's like maybe there's a difference there. Maybe there's something that you can derive from that.
Right. So, yeah, I like the idea of museum games.
I do too.
Taking these different mechanics, putting them into a single game, and saying, "Here's our museum of lockpicking. Here's our museum of fishing. Here's our museum of."
I do too. I think that's really clever. I think it's really clever.
Of dodging rocks as they're falling in Tomb Raider.
Well, that's the thing.
Press Q to dodge left.
I would hate to see a QVE
F7.
Yeah, I would hate to see that. That would be the most boring museum ever.
Yeah. But I'm also a huge fan of tech demos. I love tech demos for the sake of tech demos. Like,
no, I know. Yeah.
Sandbox environments. So itch.io did a COVID relief bundle a little while ago. You got something like 500 or 600 games for like $20
of just just stuff that people released, like
random
whatever.
games.
Yeah, random whatever. Yeah.
Here, this has been on here for 2 years. Have it.
Just try it.
And so I've been digging through that. Well, there's one that's just called Tower. And I went, okay, that sounds fun. And so installed or downloaded Tower. It's just an exe that you run. And it's literally like Jenga, where it's just a bunch of blocks. And then you throw balls at it and you knock it over. Yeah. That's all it is. It's just a tech demo where it's using like brick stack physics.
Right.
To knock something over, and then you can also create explosions and yada. The graphics are very simple. It's very simple, one source lighting, no shadows, rudimentary. But the things that you can create in this are freaking massive.
Well,
you can adjust all the parameters inside of it. Right. How long are your bricks? How wide are your bricks? How tall are your bricks? How many bricks do you have?
It's an interesting game mechanic that another developer can look at and say, well, maybe I want to implement that as a mini game or something else in my game.
I think I spent 2.5 hours one night just knocking over Jenga towers. That's all I did.
Yeah. Hey, it works.
What happens if it's tall and skinny? What happens if it's fat and wide? Can I put a hole in the center of a wall and still have the entire structure stand?
Yeah.
How, can I figure out how to it's so much fun.
It's fun. Yeah. That's great. I mean, and if you can incorporate that into some kind of overarching game, like say The Witcher or something, they had some mini game that incorporated that, you'd be all over that, right? I mean, it's just a bonus on top of everything else.
Right.
So I'm all over those. I really like that idea.
Yep. All right. It's 10:30. That's been 2 hours. Strangely enough, only 2 hours. Actually, we're slightly under 2 hours. We're at 1:58 right now. But I think I'm going to call that a show because we got an after show to get to.
Yeah, we do.
For those who don't know, we have an after show in the Discord every single Wednesday night. Usually goes to around midnight. We'll see if I make it tonight.
We'll see if I do too.
Yeah. But anyway, if you want to join the Discord, it's an awesome happening community, and it only costs you $1 a month. Link down in the video description to the Patreon, and that is how I keep my lights on and keep content coming to you every single week. Current goal is 2 videos per week, and I've been pretty good about that. I think I've only missed it once since I went full time, so there we go.
Support Jeff.
And that's because of that freaking multi-gamer project. God.
Oh, I know, it was bad.
It's been so much fun, but it's also been like more stress than my normal day job was.
I get it. I honestly get it. I get it. But it's over now. You can put it behind you.
It's not over. Now it's the AMD side of things.
Oh, no. You're going.
Now it's a reboot.
Okay.
It's a reinstall and start from square one. I don't know MX GPU. I've got a handle on Grid. I know how Grid works now.
You're gonna be that guy now.
Yeah.
You're gonna be that guy now.
Yep. Well, you can do it the way Linus did it with like consumer cards, or you can do that really weird way that no one understands and Nvidia charges a crap ton for that Kraft did.
Yeah.
I'm that guy now.
You're that guy now.
Yep. Well, I've only produced 6 videos in the series, so.
It's still fun. I still watched all of them. It's good.
Yep.
I liked it.
It's been a lot of fun. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Make sure to like this video. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. If you like the beer content we do on this show, make sure to subscribe to Hops and Brews, of which Steve and I are sometimes a part of.
Sometimes,
when we get a chance to be.
Yeah.
Steve, anything else?
I mean, if you want to be my friend on Steam, I'm there. You can like it if you want.
El Polo Diablo. Look him up on Steam.
Look at him. I'm there.
He's there.
I'm there.
His name is right above him, like right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, we will see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Later.
See you guys.